Hi folks, welcome back again to Men of the Infinite. Now, as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I was wanting to make a presentation in which I said a few things about the psychology of mystery. Now, this was prompted by a video I recently saw by existentialistcat. I'm not so much interested in the generality of that particular video entitled God, but more in some of the things that she said about the nature of mystery. Not just in the video, but in other comments, including comments to my own channel, because it's an important issue. But for the life of me, I haven't really been able to get my head around it properly, because there are so many points that I want to make, and I don't know how to get them into a single video. I tried a few times to write a concise script outlining those points, and I keep failing miserably. So I've decided that I'm just going to waffle on a little bit and try and make those points as best I can. Because mystery is a very important thing. And when I talk about mystery, I'm not talking about, oh my God, what the hell did I get up to at the pub last night? By that standard, many of us lead extremely mysterious lives. You know, I'm talking about the greater mysteries, the mystery of happiness, the mystery of love, the mystery of life, of existence, of God, etc. The reason I find it important is that the way we engage the concept of mystery, the fact of mystery, is important because it speaks to our psychological disposition. Indeed, it screams that disposition from the mountaintops. And I find some of the ways in which we engage the concept and fact and experience of mystery a little bit problematic, and in some cases very, very problematic. And what is mystery? Well, mystery obviously is simply that which is unknown, those things about which we are ignorant. But you notice we don't use the word ignorant. We don't like that word very much, do we? We don't like referring to our ignorance, even though it's a perfectly reasonable and accurate thing to do. It has negative connotations, and it doesn't really provide us with any emotional and egotistical sustenance. We don't even like to talk about the unknown, because it's kind of a little bit spooky. So instead we use this word mystery. The mystery of life, the mystery of God, the mystery of the universe. The word just makes us feel good. And there's a reason that it makes us feel good. And part of that reason is contained in one of the statements that existentialistcat made in her comments on my channel. And that was to do with the empty space that is represented, or that is presented to us by mystery. Now, her exact words were taken from a couple of different sources. The mysterious is important. It's part of art and poetry. The indescribable gap between understanding and feeling is what often causes beauty. She also said, the gap between understanding and feeling is an unknown space. And that's the really important statement. It's an unknown space. And it's the empty space that the mysterious presents to us that makes it so useful to us on an emotional and egotistical level. And we utilize that space differently depending on our psychological disposition or our psychological temperament. Existentialistcat obviously has a highly artistic temperament, and so she employs the mysterious and engages the mysterious in a particular way, as opposed to, say, I don't know, a dark-minded fundamentalist Christian who, when he thinks of the mysterious, thinks of demons and witches and nasty creatures that want to eat his testicles. In the case of a person with an artistic temperament, for them the mysterious automatically evokes nice feelings, sort of wafty, feel-good sensations. And it's all about what you can place within that empty space that we call mystery. It's all about what kind of benefit we can derive, how we can express aspects of our natural psychological predisposition. The mysterious is a little bit like having a kind of like a pharmaceutical lab right there in your head. And if you need a hit of ecstasy, you can just think of the mystery of life, and all those nebulous feel-good sensations begin to arise, the serotonin begins to flow, and you feel really great. You feel invigorated, enlivened, motivated perhaps, validated, because in the case of the artistic temperament, imagination is a very important thing, and the mysterious grants that temperament as perfect an opportunity to express its imagination and creativity as there could possibly be. In the case of the paranoid fundamentalist, if he needs a hit of paranoia, he just thinks about the mysterious and immediately grabs at his balls for protection. So we have this nifty little drug factory right there in our brains. And if we need a hit of ecstasy, we've just got to turn to the mysterious and begin to think about the mystery of whatever it is we want to find mysterious. And you might say, well, what the hell's wrong with that? You know, why is that really a problem? And in one sense, it's not. In another, it really is a problem. and I'll explain why. And it has to do with the nature of any kind of drug. As you know, drugs can be addictive, and I don't care if it's chemical drugs you imbibe or ones that you generate within your own neural network. They're all addictive. Indeed, if you look at the world and the way the world functions and has always functioned, you'll find that the most popular drug of all, and one that's extremely addictive, is not marijuana or any kind of external chemical. It's the drug of moral indignation. You'll find people indulge in that drug all the time, some of them every other minute. But addiction has a problem in that you need a constant fix, and a drug addict will do almost anything to get their fix, and this is where the problem comes in. Our engagement with the world kind of has two facets, the empirical and the logical and philosophical. Now, in the empirical realm, our attachment, both emotional and egotistical, to mystery and the psychological benefits that that attachment affords us isn't quite such a bad thing because of the contingent nature of empirical models and explanation itself. We have knowledge and yet mystery together. No matter how much we know, there will always be more to know. It's just part and parcel of a universe that's in a state of flux. So in the empirical realm, you sort of have mystery and knowledge living somewhat harmoniously together. And so in that realm, we sort of have a situation where you can have your cake and eat it too. So it's not quite so problematic. Where the real problem arises is in the realm of logic and philosophy, where the truths we determine are not contingent. I mean, we know that knowledge destroys mystery. By definition, knowledge destroys mystery. Knowledge destroys wonder, because as soon as you know, you stop wondering. Pretty obvious. Something else that existentialistcat said in her comments to my channel was the act of wondering creates a momentum, a motion, that knowing doesn't possess. She's right, but the reason she's right is pretty obvious. Wondering and knowing are completely different things. So they obviously create different consequences, different momentums. But the ultimate point that I want to make is that, as I said, knowledge destroys mystery, and does so by definition. But if you have an attachment, emotional, egotistical attachment to the psychological benefits that you derive from the very fact of mystery, then you will tend to have a natural, emotional, and egotistical resistance to that which is going to automatically destroy the source of those benefits. Unwittingly, unconsciously, you will develop that resistance, whether you think you will or not. I'm telling you right now, you will. And more particularly in the philosophical realm, where the destruction of wonder and mystery is permanent. It doesn't get replaced by anything. In the empirical realm, you gain some knowledge, you resolve a mystery, there's a new mystery. In the philosophical realm, that doesn't happen. When you establish a truth and destroy a piece of ignorance, a piece of mystery, that ignorance and mystery is gone forever. That wonderment is gone forever. It can never come back. And I tell you, people resist that very strongly. When you make a really solid philosophical argument to a person, you can often tell that the way they're responding to it has got nothing to do with the intellect, nothing to do with logic. They're simply resisting it. They express all the skepticism about it. Oh, I don't know if that's really true. I can't quite come to terms with that particular argument. You can tell that they don't have any proper intellectual reason for resisting it. They just don't want the mystery to disappear. They don't want the benefits that mystery provides them to disappear. It's the same sort of thing with God. Theists like God to be, in some sense at least, vague and malleable, so that they can assign whatever attributes they need to God. If you give a really definitive, clear, distinct description of what God is and God is not, they will resist it simply because you remove that dimension of God from the equation, and they can't use God for that purpose any longer. And so they resist philosophical truths and sound philosophical argumentation. And that's a real problem, because the end result of that, of course, is that you're resisting reality. You may be doing so unwittingly, but damn it, you're still doing it, and that's a very damaging thing. You may be doing it in subtle ways or in gross ways, I don't really care. Either way, it's not a good thing. In fact, existentialistcat almost makes my point in another statement she made, that being, I'm sort of saying that mystery is fun. Yearning for something can be beautiful, even more than having it. There you go in a nutshell. That's pretty much almost my point. The feelings and psychological benefits you derive from the simple yearning, which can only exist if there is mystery, which cannot exist if there is knowledge, is more important than the knowledge itself, than the having of it. Well, if that's true, then you are going to resist the having of it, and you are going to do everything in your power, whether you know it or not, to continue the journey, to continue the yearning, to continue the wonderment. In other words, you are going to unconsciously work against the establishment of what is true.